Hey friends, Rational Bassist, 15-year challenge, episode 11, at long last. It's been a while, so let's get into it. You can see my save files here are in complete disarray from the bear chain attack video. That was a good time. I hope you enjoyed it. We're at day 5030 survived, and we are at Mystery Lake. Today we're going to make good on a promise I had made to Tabitha before my hiatus, and that is to visit all of the different high-risk, low-reward areas in Pleasant Valley. We'll explain what that means in just a little bit. First, I'm going to head over to the Winding River Cave, and we'll pick it up there. And here we are. So let's get into it. Let's look at the map. A high-risk, low-reward area is an area like the Long Curve over here. An area that is out of the way, it's remote, requires a bit of a schlep, and has limited to no loot. You could completely skip it, and probably do in most playthroughs. Compare that to over here. This is Pensive Pond, and there's the Forest Cave. That's an instance of a high-risk, no-reward area. There's no loot in that cave, and there's a wolf that paths around a slope right in front of the cave. You can get hit by him pretty easily, happens all the time. So we're basically going to be circumventing the map. We'll be heading to at least, I guess, 2 corners of the map and some areas in the middle. Hopefully that's all clear. Let's get underway. I am still not used to this ledge being as extensive as it is. Back during Steadfast Ranger, this whole area was transparent, and you could just drop into, I guess, under the map, and then go fully off map, and I'm still used to it being that way. I don't know if I'm the only one who gets stuck in time like that, where you just get used to something being broken and then it's fixed, and it's been fixed a lot longer than it was broken, but you're still used to what you're used to. Behind us here on the left is the Cracker Cave, and on the right is the Winding River Cave. Cracker Cave, Hilltop Cave, so called because there's this box of standard fare crackers. Definitely worth a stop on a new interloper run because food is in short supply, and guaranteed food even more so. You will recognize this route if you've ever watched any of my playthroughs. I love running back through here. I never head straight across from Signal Hill, right across the path, because there's always at least one wolf in the aggro I don't want to deal with. And then the hunting blind, sometimes there's a bear. However, there's a second cave back here. There's also a wolf in the area. I have to watch out for him. Likes to harass the bunnies. This cave back here is a non-coal producing cave, and I've never found an ounce of loot. So I don't typically visit. But you never know, this being PB, you may have noticed there's a campfire outside of that cave. That's because sometimes a blizzard just hits. And speaking of which, I'm getting some weird vibes about the fluctuation of the weather. I have made some sound adjustments. If the game sounds a little louder, let me just show you real fast. It's at 100, 80, 65, and 80. So I'll look forward to your thoughts on that, but it's entirely possible in post that I might change things a little bit because, you know, some sounds are just louder in this game than other sounds, and you have to try to account for that. We are going to take the newbie slope down to the Long Curve. I say the newbie slope because it is a way to get to Signal Hill if you don't know any better. It's the route that I used to take, and there are some pretty good sapling wait. No, we're going to head over to Signal Hill. This weather, I can't tell you exactly what it is, but there have been 2 weird fluctuations in the weather. Then I've got this weird, a very light fogging sensation. I mean, it seems okay now, but I'm just a little put off. It is kind of a waste, though, because look at the temperature. -5 is about as warm as it typically gets for me, not having cold fusion. Sorry, not having cold fusion. There you go. But I'm going to lean into my instincts here. Here it goes. So follow your gut. What do I tell you? That was so weird. So strange. So I'm not sure if I'm going to have any food in Signal Hill.
My fingers feel numb.
Tell us about it, Will. Oh, wait, you did. No, there is no food here. That's going to be a real problem. No food. I'm going to have to find a way to make do, but we'll go ahead and turn in for the night, and we'll see what the morning brings. Probably going to bring some urgency, but we will see. I'll see you then. I had hoped maybe the blizzard would dissipate before morning, and I could internally debate heading out at night. Wouldn't have been a good idea, but it would have been a lot more satisfying than just waiting around. I am out of water. We are close to starvation, which means we lose well fed. And I'm going to have to contain myself here because there's a desire to rush. And we're not actually on a schedule. No. See, this is what I mean. I'm thinking, can I maybe run down there and save some time? All that's going to do is get me a sprain. We're just going to have to go ahead and eat. There's no getting around it.
Anything right about now.
No birch bark tea. So I have a couple of these sardine tins from beachcombing. We can spare those. And that'll give me enough time to go to the long curve, and then we'll go down to Molly's barn. There is food there. So we'll worry about that in a bit. The whole point here is to take our time at the long curve, not to rush because we're starving. So we're good now. As I was saying before yesterday's blizzard, and how about calling that out? Sometimes I even surprise myself. We're going to head down this slope right here. I call it the newbie slope. That's really self-referential. I used to take this slope up. There are sometimes some saplings. There's a grove a little bit further down. Right about...
It's making my head feel thick.
I don't know. Right about up where that rock is on the left-hand side. Somewhere around there, or maybe even further down. I think they are somehow connected to the grove that you occasionally see out past the abandoned prepper cache next to the hunter's blind, or even that grove across from the ridge, Skeeter Ridge. But I've never seen all three of those up at once. So this is a nice place to find a grove of saplings if you happen to find a hacksaw early. It's also a way up to Signal Hill, but I think the other way, closer to the farmhouse, is the vastly superior. So we're now approaching the long curve, looking for a wolf that tends to be closer up to the bridge, and on the other side there of the railing is the stream. If you were to walk down there, there's that bear grove on the left-hand side with the bear cave. I'm gonna watch for this wolf, listen for the wolf as best as I can. Everything sounds a little different since I've raised the audio. Welcome to the long curve. So named because, well, it's a curve that is long. Sometimes it really is just that simple. My favorite location name, by the by, is Point of Disagreement. It fits so well. Sounds like there's a corpse, either a corpse or a deer carcass somewhere. You may have seen in the bear chain attack video a segment where I was being chased by a bear under ice. That happened over here. We're going to walk by that location after I locate this corpse, but I'm not going to tempt fate by seeing if it's still an area where you can drop down. I don't think so. I think they fixed that a long time ago. Let's see. Free crow feathers. Why not?
I need some water.
I'm really surprised we haven't touched these, so I haven't been back here. These are new, and a free 100% torch. I hope we can agree that this was not worth the trip, but it is something. I do love me a good, perfect torch. Why not? I think that's it. So up here on the left, we're passing it by, is where you could have fallen in under the ice. You'd usually catch a sprain, which means it would save your game, and you were in a lot of trouble. It was fun to kite the wolves back here, though. Because sometimes they would get trapped under the ice, too. And it was just a whole goof. Hey, are those cattails? They are. I didn't know that they were back here. In a way, I think they're new. New as a steadfast ranger, maybe? I don't need to take them all. Let's take them all. I may, in fact, need some of those later. I try to keep 20 on me at all times. There's the Ash Canyon song. I don't think I realized it played in other regions. It plays every time you head outdoors in Ash Canyon, but I did not know it played other locations. Alright, so we already checked for the wolf on our way out, but better safe than sorry. And now we're going to head to Molly's, and I'm going to eat up, drink, and heal. There is going to be quite a bit of that, because part of these high-risk, low-reward areas is their remoteness. And I'm only willing to risk my ass so much and so far. This is already sort of outlandish to come out this far to these risky locations that serves no point. I mean, I was asked to do it. That's reason enough to do it, but I'm not going to push it any further than that. So we'll be doing a fair bit of healing and recuperating in between the spots. That's one of what I guess is 4 locations we'll be visiting. Plus, I have a location that I had mentioned that I needed to go to many moons ago. It's just a little, I don't know, an inlet, a pond area of some kind. Something like that. I'm not really good at describing bodies of water and geographical locations. I'm a lawyer. We're just going to call everything an inlet or a creek, a crick. Whatever. Alright, so I'm going to head in here. I'm going to recuperate, and I will meet you all at the barn. Excuse me, I'll meet you all at the farmhouse in a little bit. Well, welcome back. We are all nice and healed, rested, fed. Hard to believe that all it takes to go starving, you're sitting flush, and one day, one blizzard, and you're on the verge of starving. But we are back. Drop all our decoys and what have you. We'll get out of here. So we're heading to 3 strikes. We're going to have to be careful about the weather, and this gives me a little bit of pause. I don't know what to make of the fact that I predicted that blizzard, and I predicted one earlier. I think really it's just fluctuations in the weather. Did you hear that, wolf? Fluctuations in the weather. I just want to make sure it calms down a little. This looks good enough. Let's go. So 3 strikes is the target. It is on Interloper, a high-risk, low-reward area. But the main focus is actually going to be the cave behind 3 strikes, just to add a little bit of a bonus to this. It's going to be a higher risk, lower reward area than 3 strikes itself. And I guess just to add even more danger, because I am hell-bent on throwing this file away, we're going to take the worst possible path, which is just right up here, and we're going to travel alongside the railing. You should not do that. But I'm going to do that consistently for the rest of this video and then never again. So this is an instance of not using best practices. Don't do what Basis Done did, and hopefully I don't get the file wrecked. Going this route will take us past a couple of dilapidated buildings, themselves, to my knowledge, having no loot at all. A couple of wolf encounters are possible, but that's about it. So I guess while we're underway, I'm going to talk a little bit about the 15-year challenge going forward. We've been to about every region so far, and I'm not sure where you all want me to go next. I really don't have a good read for what repetition is acceptable and what repetition is not. Would going back to Mystery Lake and bouncing around there, just doing maintenance, be entertaining? I really have no idea. In some ways, this is uncharted territory because it's a multi-year challenge using just the 11 region. So I'm going to need some feedback from you all to that end. However, since they just announced episode 4 is closer, I'm guarding all of my enthusiasm about that. When I get a release date, then we'll start making plans. But my best guess is we'll see it probably about the same time as episode 3, late October-ish. So I'm going to try to beat episode 4 to the finish line. Which is to say, let's check this building first and then I'll continue with what I was saying. There can be, I believe, a wolf here. We're going to check underneath the loft, see if there's anything there worth grabbing. Okay, so we've been here. Yeah, nothing new here. That isn't to say, even though we've been here, that there couldn't have been a new book. Even in existing files, they redistribute new books into old areas. And if you've been everywhere, then everywhere is an old area. So it's still worth checking if you're interested in those skill books. So, back to what I was saying. We are looking at finishing up the 15-year challenge in the next month. But until I have guidance on what regions you'd like to see again, understanding that my methods probably won't change a lot, I'm going to just focus on getting the days survived. I'll be going and beachcombing after we finish this episode, because the more cloth that I can get, the less I have to worry about cloth for the last year. We're about 80 days out from 14 years survived, and a year by itself can go very quickly if you're focusing on getting time under your belt. Some of that will be a little bit of passing time. We've talked about that. Most of it will be roaming around, because I think there is merit to passing some time. I just get intensely bored. And if I don't have any fun, it's just not worth it. But I do know how to move quickly using legitimate methods. So that's what I'm going to do. And if you leave comments telling me what regions you'd like to see, I will crack out those videos for you. But I do need your feedback. So we are approaching 3 strikes now. And we just crossed that bridge. If we drop down that bridge, head along the stream, we'll end up at that fork right around the the log bridge, draft dodgers, the stream crossroads, whatever that is, the fork in the stream that allows us to head virtually anywhere we want to go. And that's how I normally approach this area. I don't like roads. I don't like weird barriers, walls that I can't see around. I don't like any of that. I would strongly urge caution against being behind anything you haven't at least checked behind first. I'm not expecting that we'll find anything here. There can always be, like we said before, a new skill book, but I think I've been here within the last update. I think that's probably true. Yeah, this is all good and cleared out. Hypothermia is okay. I'm looking for this wolf. There is a a wolf that paths sort of up to our right over there. You could take this route to go up the Skeeter Ridge. We used to path up the mountainside to avoid climbing the rope before we had that log bridge that we could use. And from there to this cave in the back is a wolf. Can be hard to see. This is not the best way to go about locating him because I can get jumped. But in for a penny, in for a pound. We're going to make all the mistakes for your amusement and then never again. This right here is okay. Use higher ground to look ahead. Alright, there is our query. I'm going to pull him down here. Whatever these wooden structures are for, I guess, planting corn. Is it a trestle? Whatever they're called. He didn't see me. Okay, looks like he saw me this time. Oh, he got distracted by the bunnies. Or... Okay, but I was much closer to him than any bunny. That doesn't really make sense to me. The wolf will be distracted by whatever's closest. But he actually disengaged and went for the bunnies, and then that was definitely a second fear check. So he disengaged and then re-engaged. I'm gonna keep my distance here, because if he closes the distance and then ends his flee, or stops fleeing, he will charge me. But none of this is good ground for a second pursuit. That ambient noise, the building shifting in the background, kind of sounded like a wolf barking, but it wasn't. You'd be forgiven if you thought otherwise. The game can really mess with your head, and for good reason. One wrong move and you're done. So I'm going to take my time here. After a point, the wolf resumes its pathing. So there we go. Alright, let's pull him in. This is pretty good ground. So this right here I don't understand at all. The fear check was when we pulled, but he just randomly ran away. I have no idea what's going on with this wolf. I thought I understood wolf fear and fear checks, but maybe not. I have been seeing a lot of weird things, stuttering in the game. I had a bear, I shot a bear, and it ran off about 10 feet away from me, and then disappeared, and its tracks disappeared, and whether like this. Then I had to go looking for him, and he was like 400 feet. This was at Forlorn Moose Keg on the other side of the poacher camp, and he was dead. And I had checked my stats, so he had died within seconds, probably when he ported. I wonder, was there any kind of hotfix? I did check, and there was nothing to suggest it. Alright, let's finish this now. Okay, well, that was weird. Wolves are broken. It should be noted they are broken. They were broken before they changed the baiting system with episode 3. But every time they change something, it really just ends up adding layers to how they're broken. So be careful around, say, Carter Hydro Dam. Wolves can get through the chain link fence. Not the gate, the actual fence. Especially if they're lured your way by scent. Something about the scent breaks whatever that tells the game that objects shouldn't be able to pass through the fence as a barrier. I don't know the right term to use, but whatever it is, the game doesn't recognize that. So that may be an instance of what we just saw. I'm going to go ahead and cook up this wolf, and then we're going to head back over to 3 Strikes and check out that cave. Well, that was pretty straightforward. Good that something is going according to plan, but of course we have a considerable fog setting in. Thankfully, I know where we're going, so we're going to head to this back cave behind 3 Strikes. I don't think we'll have to worry about another wolf. Sometimes you get a second wolf at night. If you've ever been, say, to Carter Hydro Dam at night and you fought the one wolf that lurks around the trailers and then had a second wolf, not the one across the bridge, but a second one over on the trailer side, well, night happens. Night brings more wolves and stronger wolves. But we're deep into the afternoon, so I don't think that'll be a real problem here. And we have a torch. I'm still going to listen as carefully as I can, though. I'm fine with skirting a little danger this episode. I'm not looking to cash in. Also, it's foggy and the crows are still out. And there's there's the corpse. The crows told me the corpse is across from the cave. Let's check this guy real quick. Okay, good and looted. And there's our cave. So as before, I'm going to hang out here, heal up, recuperate. We do have some wolf meat now. I boiled up a little water as well. Here's a book. Never got read. I think I actually found that back here, or maybe in 3 Strikes, well after I'd reached level 5 campfire. There, of course, are some books that you can't read after level 3. It's been so long I can't tell them apart anymore. But I'm going to go ahead and heal up, and I'll see you all, well, later. So it's evening the next day. We got socked in with a pretty big blizzard, and then another one on top of that after the fog lifted. So we're going to do something I don't like to do, and that's head out at night. I apologize in advance if it becomes a little difficult to see. I would have just waited until morning, but how much food do I have? I want to leave a little of that food for this back cave, because there wasn't food there before that food we just brought now. It's nice to leave a little stockpile for reasons that have probably been made clear at Signal Hill. Also, this gives me an opportunity to show you all the correct, safer way to approach 3 Strikes if you absolutely must visit at all. Please yourself. On story mode, of course, there's a different reason to come here, and there's also a rifle. I don't know if that's true of any non-interloper mode. I don't know. I don't think so, but maybe. It is certainly not the case in interloper. There is a deer over here, and if you're a non-deer killing kind of fella, kind of person like me, I was thinking of myself when I said fella. That's why I said fella, but if you're a non-deer killing sort and you want to make your pants, well, there's a deer back here. I believe there's also one at that first over building that we ran past earlier. There's a few out here, sadly. So we're going to dip down here. You can take this little slope up if you want to come up here. I mean, you wouldn't, like, drop in reverse, but you would work your way around behind these rocks and then run up alongside the bridge.
Can't feel me.
Speaking of wolves at night, we just had that discussion. There is a wolf up ahead here at the crossroads, or the cross streams. I'm gonna figure out what to call that, but that intersection. How about that intersection? At the intersection up ahead, there is a wolf well before we get there. After we pass under the bridge, it isn't unheard of to encounter 2 wolves. I'm hoping to encounter none. This is where this file started, right about this point near the waterfall. And the wolf up here before the ramshackle building with the birch, it used to be a lot more common. It used to be a major concern to me when I was still learning how to deal with wolves. It's not such a concern anymore because it's just one wolf. Of course, it's nighttime. So here is the aforementioned bridge. Listening intently, not really expecting to hear anything. And not hearing anything. That isn't dispositive, but we're going to tear ahead anyhow. I'm eager to get out of the cold. There's going to be quite a bit of food waiting for me at Draft Dodgers. Last time I came through here, I shot that birch forest bear. So there'll be food waiting for me there, and I think there's some more up the way between Draft Dodgers and the birch forest. I'll have to deal with that at some point. When we get over here to the Draft Dodgers, I'm going to do a little maintenance work. I'm going to go up to the crash site, probably kill a little time. I don't need to worry about cabin fever because I just spent a whole day in a cave. But I'm going to linger around and see if I can get some work done, move some things, I don't know, do something. And then after that, we're going to head to our next spot, just to tease that a little bit. By the by, let me know if you didn't know there was a cave back there behind 3 Strikes. I don't recall how I figured that out. I might have just followed the crows over there, or got on a tear and just went looking around. This is quite dark. You have my apologies for that. Somebody on Reddit posted an image of what the long dark looks like on YouTube at night, and it's just this silhouette of the fridge in the farmhouse. There's nothing I could really do to brighten this that wouldn't appear artificial, and I've seen where some people use night vision so that you can see. I don't want to do that. I think a game at night should be dark, and the way that I try to accommodate that is to avoid being out here at night. And here comes our Blizzard. Thanks for waiting, Blizzard. Let's go ahead and... I forgot to bring a jerry can, so I'm pretty short on fuel right now. But see, healthy supply of food. There used to be some non-potable water in that backpack. Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll boil more water. It's nice to have a good stockpile. So I'll go ahead and knock that out, and we'll reconvene probably in a day or so. Welcome back, friends. It's been a couple of days, and we're looking at the Pleasant Valley map, as you can tell. Here in the northeastern corner, and I'm just going to use the map for cardinal directions. We'll just say the northeastern corner is where we're going next. Behind Thompson's Crossing, there is a cave. And I don't know for sure that any loot can be found there. I don't think so. And that means that this would be a high-risk, no-reward area. But we're going to go ahead and go anyway. And the reason we're going to visit there is originally I had planned to take us over to the Misty Falls picnic area, formerly Mystic River. I don't know why they changed the name, but it's now Misty Falls instead of Mystic River. We were going to go over there as an example of a high-risk, high-reward location. Nobody could fairly call that location high-risk, high-reward. It's one of 2 locations in the game, in Interloper in Pleasant Valley, where you can find a bedroll. Hardly high-risk, low-reward. That would be the highest reward on this difficulty. So we're going to skip that, and instead we're going to go to this back cave, playing into, I guess, the 4 corners of the region. But before we head there, we're going to go to this little offshoot that I had alluded to before, and I don't really know what's up there, except that I said we should visit. Probably just some cattail stalks. How are you liking this louder game? I really would appreciate your feedback on that.
It's making my head feel thick.
I think it's a little louder than I am used to, but if you all like this loud, we have set the standard that you should be able to hear every snowflake drop. So here's that cache of food and water. We'll take some of the water. I'll have to move that at some point. Did not get around to it this time. We're going to move up alongside the birch forest. There is a wolf you can sometimes find back here on the left-hand side, sometimes further up ahead. I'm going to try to just give him a pass. And we're going to run up here. I'm not going to cut across this part of the birch forest, but I probably will when we get further up the back side. and we will visit those 2 derelict cabins. I can't remember if those are the derelict cabins or if the ones on the road are derelict cabins. But those 2 on the back road, you typically encounter along the way. So we're just going to treat these as a higher risk, lower reward area. It's especially higher risk if you have the moose spawn back here. But as mentioned, my moose spawn... Actually, I didn't mention that. My file has a persistent moose spawned at Pensive Pond. And some moose, like the Mountain Town moose, you have to wait a couple days, 3 days. If I were to go up there right now, there'd be a moose there. If I left for 100 days and came back, the moose would be right there. He never goes away. So that was another reason why the forest cave really wasn't worth it. But being that the moose isn't here, we might as well just visit this back area on our way to this little whatever it's called. Maybe we'll get a couple of pieces of birch bark too. I'm not going to tangle with the bear. I just want to keep on task right now. But this is a great place to get your hands on a fair number of birch, something like 20. I try to keep a healthy stockpile because it's free calories. Forgive me if I'm looking for that wolf as we run. But that is he's no longer going to be a problem for us, so we're just going to head back here. Bear rarely travels this far back. Unprovoked, anyway. Okay, so Lonely Homestead. Derelict is going to be the other side. Got it. Let's check over here and see. I'm very, very sure. Yeah, okay. So I'm not going to check the corpses over there. I'm very confident that we've been through there already. I see no purpose. This is kind of a rip. Fine, branch. You can keep your precious birch. I'll take this one. And not bad. We got a whole tea worth of birch. Floating sticks, like you see. There were a ton of those up past the log bridge next to the crash site. Why there? I don't know. It has been speculated that's because they've messed with things, messed with the area a little bit, and it's just, you know, broken existing objects that I've never removed. And maybe if I got those, if I harvested the sticks, that they would, the respawns would conform to principles of gravity. But where's the fun in that, honestly? Best sticks are floating sticks. Alright, so here's this area that I promised. Looks like there's just a bunch of cattails. I'll help myself to a few. I'm sort of stuck between the idea of leaving a few resources in the area or acting on an assumption that you've left no resources in the area and leaving a good stockpile somewhere. So maybe I'll do a little bit of both. I think that's, now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, that's a perfectly silly idea. Going forward, I think my rule will just be take everything. Why not? I mean, after this time. I don't want to keep you collecting 20 cattail stalks. I'll come back later. So we're going to approach Thompson's Crossing from the backside, which is something I don't think I've ever done outside of story mode. It's going to be a different perspective, and just a little perspective change can really throw you off. So let's see how I do. Of course, I'm watching for wolves because there are wolves alongside the road and out in these plains of just grass and snow. There's no need to get eaten today. Perfectly lovely afternoon. That would ruin everything. Forgive me while I listen, though. Okay, I do believe we're clear. Let's move along home now. And there is our Thompson's Crossing. So is this whole area just called Thompson's Crossing? This little village is just all Thompson's Crossing? I'm guessing so. Or would it just be more of Pleasant Valley? Let's look at one of these tombstones. Look at this one right here. Ryan Thompson. I wonder if that's the name of one of the employees at Hennerland. Here's a question. If Raphael or some graphic designer comes to you and says, would you like your name to be on a tombstone? How do you respond? I'm going to say, no, I'm good. I try to have a sense of humor about that, but why tempt fate? It'll happen on its own soon enough. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll do a little bit of a look around here. So let's check the stage, and then we'll check underneath the stairs, because there's a container there that I looted that you might miss. Oh, wait. I apparently did not myself loot it, this file. Oh, well, huge disappointment, but now you know it's there. If you want to take some time out of your day to find nothing, there's an opportunity for you. So I'm going to go ahead and rest up a little bit, and then we'll head off to the cave behind Thompson's Crossing. All right, folks, home stretch time. We're going to head out here, and we're going to visit this cave, and then we're going to visit our final location. The game has given us reasonably good weather and no more wind for me to have to yell over. Hopefully that holds up. I won't hold my breath. I don't even know why I said it out loud. So to reach the cave, we're going to head across the bridge into this sketchy area that used to give me a lot of anxiety when I started playing, because there was no Thompson's Crossing. There was the crossroads and no building with a bed. There was a building across the bridge here with a bed. And me being new and Fluffy being a thing, you didn't really want to go to the hydro dam. So I would run through Cinder Hills. The worst wolf is the wolf you can't locate. So I have to operate on an assumption that the wolf is around here somewhere. Those wolves are closer to Cinder Hills. Shouldn't encounter them on our little trip. I'll have to be careful though, or we will encounter a sprain. Speaking of which, I don't know if this is baked into the system, whatever that means, but I haven't been getting many sprains, even though my crampons broke. So I wonder if having owned the crampons and used them had some permanent impact that it shouldn't, or maybe have they just like reduced sprains? Another reason to hurry up and get this knocked out before episode 4. There are going to be so many different changes to the game.
Wait.
You just wait. We're going to find out. Walking down slopes was an exploit. You just wait. Okay, so there's a bear, if you draw that bear, who can path around here. And we did draw that bear. He's not going to be bothering us right here. We're going to warm up. No need to recuperate. I'm just going to come back here, look around. There is Nathan. Nothing. Nada. We'll go ahead and warm up. Let's find out if we freeze to death. That would be a hell of a way to go out. Tabitha would be sad, and then he would feel bad. Don't feel bad. And yet we live. Good. So our last trip is going to be to the end of the road. the extreme opposite end of the long curve. I have speculated, I forgot to mention this before, but I've speculated, as I did in another video, that Black Rock Mountain is connected to the long curve. And I think we're saying that the end of the road is where Molly found Astrid. Isn't that right? So Molly says, like, the crows led her to Astrid. The crows led her across the region. I haven't been able to make sense of that. Unless we're to believe that she was actually talking about the long curve, which geographically does not track. Feel free to disagree, though. The comment section is yours for disagreement purposes. So we're going to do as we did before, and we're going to watch for this wolf. Not hearing anything. Not seeing anything.
My fingers feel numb.
Good. So we're going to take our time on the roadway once we get up here.
Cold.
I have had the strangest wolf encounters. Up here on the right, I've had wolves climb down the slope and bother me. Usually because I had scent, but I'm leaving nothing to chance. Once we get up here past Cinder Hills, there will be an intersection. There's typically a wolf over there. I'm going to be looking out for him. We're approaching. I'm going to watch myself here. Listening intently, hearing nothing. Good weather, though. Good free fire opportunity I'm not going to get to make use of. That's too bad. I don't have any fuel, so it's not like it would matter too much. I do think about the game that way, though. Whenever there's a clear blue sky, I'm like, I could have used this to do something. Spoken like a man who's had to spend 2 days going without water. But we did hear a wolf off in the distance. He may be further up. Doesn't necessarily mean we're going to encounter him. Alright, well, if he was going to be around, he'd be right there. Let's just keep on keeping on. And allow me... I'll wait a moment. Well, what the hell. Welcome to the end of the road. There's nothing in here, but let's go crazy and lower these visors. Never found a single thing underneath any or on top of either. So where does the location hit? I haven't seen anything pop up yet. Right here. So quite a ways up. And we've already been through all of this. Not surprising. So let's go up to the actual end of the road. Right up here. And this corresponds to that tunnel in Mountain Town. Is that what we're saying? If that's what we're saying, then crows led Molly all the way up here. I find that suspect, but please yourselves. Well, so ends our trip through the high-risk, low-reward areas of PV. Somehow we survived. If you're surprised, you aren't nearly as surprised as I am. I did a lot wrong in this episode. I had a good time. But I'm going to head to Cinder Hills. Feel free to join me. I'm not going anywhere right yet. And I'm going to head off to DP to get a beachcombing. My guess is I will head Dude, we did this circuit in like episode 7. I showed you all what the beachcombing circuit looked like. Good lord. That deer took like years off my life. What was I saying? Yeah, beachcombing circuit. I'm gonna do that and then probably head to Forlorn Moose Keg. I haven't spent a lot of time in Forlorn Moose Keg, and that's a shame because it's my favorite region in the game, followed closely by Timberwolf Mountain. So I'll probably go visit all those areas, and then I have like 200 days I need to get in Ash Canyon. I promised a year in Ash Canyon, so I'll be doing all of that. You should all feel free to discuss it in the comments what region you'd like me to do for part 12. Form alliances, debate and discuss amongst yourselves, and once you've reached a consensus, let me know, and I will do it. Well, it looks like we're not going to have a wolf escort us into Cinder Hills. That's a shame. Little contact would be nice now and then. Felt like it's lonely. You're talking to yourself again, Will. While I'm on the subject of things to do, please know that I am going to keep my word. New Kingdom Come Deliverance. That'll happen at some point soon. And I want to get back to our Resolute Outfitter run. There's lots I need to do. I'm just now getting back on track. So let me know what region you'd like for me to do. Let me know your thoughts on the sound. Too high, game audio too high, mic audio too low, the opposite, some variation thereof. Let me know. All your feedback is really important. I use it. I integrate it. So the more data I have, the better videos I can make. And that's really my whole goal here, is just to try to make the best videos that I can, the best sound that I can. Right now, we're still experimenting. So with that, folks, I'm going to leave it here. You've seen Cinder Hills, and I'm just going to mosey on out here, maybe catch a little fish, do a little beach combing, rinse and repeat. So looking forward to your thoughts, looking forward to your reactions, all that good stuff. Till next time, I'll see you all around the bend. Cheers.